Once again, I'm Steve Kreiner, the Dog Soldier. Thanks for joining me tonight on tonight's podcast. This is Plain and Simple with the Dog Soldier. It is episode 7. I believe it's May 18th. I think it's May 18th. I am live from Vermont. We're going to try this. We're going to see what happens with the storms, and we're going to roll with it. I know I have a lot of problems with it. I'm at the graces of internet. Now I'm in Vermont. Now, I'm usually in Wyoming, so it's just working. Sometimes it don't work. It just is the way it is. But we're live now, and once again, this podcast is brought to you by TacticalPredatorHunter.com. And if you guys enter podcast 007 at checkout for 20% off, that's what tonight's coupon code is going to be. TacticalPredatorHunter.com. Coupon code podcast 007 at checkout. We have Windicators in stock now. They'll be shipping next week for all you guys that ordered. I'm glad you guys are watching. There's 21 of you guys watching right now, and you guys made it through all the bullshit. That's what I like. I like it when you guys jump on here, you chat with each other, you visit with each other. If I have problems, I seen a guy post a while ago. He's like, man, I'm sorry. He said, I'm sorry it's you have so much trouble. It does suck. I do have a lot of trouble. I don't know what the heck it is. I've spent a few $100s on mics. I've spent a few $100s on audio equipment. I'm probably going to do the best podcast as far as video and audio I've ever did tonight from just the internal mic on my Mac from the attic of my mother-in-law. So I want to throw a shout out to Lydia. Thank her for letting me use her attic. Lydia is Emily's mother. She will soon be Lydia Laramie. We're in Vermont for a wedding this week. And, it's pretty cool because I got 3 weddings I have to officiate this summer. I'm actually an ordained minister, and I'm going to do 3 weddings this summer, and I don't really actually know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm going to get to watch a wedding and get some lessons, but I'm really happy for Lydia. I met her last year, the year before, and I met her soon-to-be husband, Roland, last year, and they're super good people, and they've taken me in, and not to be too sappy, but I really love these people up here. They're pretty good people, and Emily's grandmother's freaking awesome, Norma Treat. I'm her favorite. That's just how it is. It's that's how it usually is. I'm usually people's favorite, but speaking of favorites, I've had a long day. It's humid here in Vermont. It's damn hot. I'm kind of halfway sick. I'm not really figured out if that's a good thing or a bad thing because I don't know if it's coming or going. So it is what it is. But tonight on the podcast, we're just going to do some live updates on the show. We're going to talk about Dog Soldier a little bit. We're going to talk about some new sponsors. We're going to talk about product affiliation in the industry, how product driven it is, and this is based on some conversations and some arguments and some fights I've had to do today. I'm not going to talk about them. That's just straight business stuff, but I do want to talk to you about why television is so commercialized. So talk about traveling for the business. Now I'm traveling this week. I'm traveling for my in-laws' wedding, like I mentioned. But I travel all the time. Sometimes it's on, for the show. Sometimes it's for, business, contractual business with other companies. I got out of flying again the 27th, which I see Great Plains Outfitters is on. Dirk and Jen, I love you guys. You're my family. And we have a camera crew coming from Rusted Rooster the 27th through the 31st. And we will be filming a commercial live for Flex Tone on Dirk and Jen's family's ranch there in Sheridan where they live. I went and worked cows the other day, speaking of that damn ranch. And I kind of like to think I'm a cowboy sometimes, but it don't matter what it is. If I get around cattle, and I was this way when I rode bulls and fought bulls, I was always breaking something and I was always getting bucked off or something always was happening. And I go work cows and I'm getting kicked every 5 seconds. And I get kicked right here in the arm. It kicked right here in the arm, and when it kicked me, it threw my stick like 250 yards away. So, and I thought it was broken. And of course, I had Dirk come over, and he twisted it around, and we figured it wasn't broken. But the big joke was I got kicked right in the fearless, But sometimes you just attract bad stuff. That's really how it is. Was that an FFA tattoo? Dude, I'm getting a FTW tattoo. I'll tell you that right now. I am so sick. I'm going to kind of rant just a little bit. I'm so sick of Facebook right now. I could puke. I did the whole Ustream live coyote hunts 3 years ago. I don't know if you guys remembered it. I was always like, so let's do live coyote hunts on Ustream. So I had everybody download Ustream on their iPhones and their Androids, and you could watch me on a stand. And then me and the regulators were doing not podcasts, but Google Google Hangouts, just like I'm doing the podcast from tonight. And everybody could interact and chat. And, I had a camera room where we could see everybody talking. And it was a super awesome deal. But I was doing live Google Hangouts, 4 or 5 years ago. Stearman, and that's back before Baker bailed. So, Baker was on there, and Dennis Riley and some other guys. And it is what it is. And, we were doing all kinds of cool stuff. And then Facebook come out with this live feed. So I really concentrated on that, and I killed coyotes on live feed last year, and I did some live videos and anybody for it. But now it's like you get on Facebook and there's a live feed everywhere, and it's all question and answer, and it's all the same answers. And it just is what it is. And it makes my job a little tougher. So that's where the podcasts come in. The one thing I wanted to do with the podcast is for this reason right here. Dog Soldier, I do have some announcements. Dog Soldier's going to Carbon TV. Dog Soldier's going to Roku. We're staying on the Sportsman channel. We're on iTunes and SoundCloud, so you can listen to the podcast about anywhere you want. We do have a YouTube channel, growing every day and live and active. But one thing about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, they're a little bit liberal based, whether we want to admit it or not. And what tends to happen is, like YouTube last week implemented a setting that labeled my channel controversial. And if you don't have your settings right, you can't even see it, which hurts my business. So we're going to Carbon, which is an online platform. You can see a lot of hunting shows. And one thing about it, you can see these hunting shows for free. Absolutely free. So it's a good platform to go to. iTunes, the podcast on iTunes, that podcast app, absolutely free. I don't make you guys pay for nothing. It's just a good way to do, and it's a good way to separate myself from Facebook. I'm not so much trying to separate myself from Facebook to get away from people, but I'm staying active on Facebook, but I am trying to do things all across the spectrum, because at the end of the day, if you're going to do this as a business, you really, really, really got to stay focused and do it 100% like Tyler said. So we're going to talk about some coyote hunting tonight. We're going to talk about the show. I hate airports. I was going to complain about airports for an hour long. Sometimes we travel all over the country. It is what it is. I've never had such bad flights as I had on this trip out to Vermont. I hated it. There's so many rude people in this world. I just want to punch people, and I really don't. I don't really like being that way, but that's how it is. So anyway, I'm going to get to answering some chats. We're going to talk about the show and the sponsors a little bit later, but I'm going to start answering some chats here. I see some chats, and a lot of you guys right now are chatting about Scent Killer and Scent Away. I want to tell you guys, and I've told you guys this before probably, I love Young Guns. Young Guns is my favorite freaking movie. We're in the spirit world right now. Okay, so anyway, so here's the deal. With Scent Killer Gold is actually a sponsor of Dog Soldier, a longtime partner of Dog Soldier. Let me tell you why I believe in that product. I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to make you think less of me, and I'm damn sure not going to pressure you to buy it, but I do want to tell you one thing that I like about Scent Killer. For one, you can wash your clothes in it and don't smell like Tide, because I hate it. It don't fade your camo. That's a plus. But second of all, listen, depending on pressure levels, those 4 words right there should mean the most out of any 4 words I've ever said, depending on pressure levels. Depending on pressure levels dictates how much a coyote will tolerate human scent, or what they associate that human scent to. I'll give you an example. In 2010, and during the World Championships, and Clay Owens, he's my partner. He was there. He's the one driving the truck. He's actually a Fox Pro guy. We were walking across the field, and the wind was blowing in our face toward the stand, but when we were walking out, the wind was at our back. This coyote is just cussing the hell out of us in this pasture across from the truck. So we get to the truck. I actually sat in the road ditch. I slammed my door and told Clay, give me 5 minutes, brother. He drives off. At minute 3, I killed a big old male right next to the road. And I ditched him, what we call ditching. When you ditch your partner, and during the World Championships, it's legal as long as your partner don't go further than a mile away. That coyote had my scent in his nose the whole time, probably for the last 30 minutes before his death. Okay? So what that tells me is, no, coyotes don't think, but that coyote associated, he's seen the truck pull up. He's seen us get out. He smelled us. He knew what we were up to, but he watched the truck leave. They do know. They are very dynamic, but he tolerated human scent. That's what I'm getting at. So depending on the pressure levels dictates how a coyote reacts. And they can do this right here. They can think that you're far enough away, you're not going to hurt them. Or they also can think, even though I don't think coyotes can think, let's just change the word associate. They can associate your scent dictated by their pressure levels, how they react. You're either far enough away, you're not going to hurt them, depending on pressure levels and scent levels, I guess. And they can think you're already gone, or they can associate with you being already gone. I know that's confusing, but it's the truth. I know a guy, and I'm going to have him on the podcast. He's scheduled not this Thursday or next Thursday, obviously, but 3 Thursdays from now, we're going to have Rich Higgins on from Arizona. Okay? Rich Higgins has video setting up his camera, filming him make a hand call stand, him getting up and leaving his camera there. He has videos of coyotes minutes after he left, and he was not stealthy about it. He just got up and walked out. The coyote comes up and lays scat right where he was sitting, almost like a coyote will do on a trap set. Okay? So that's why I use Scent Killer. It does cut down on your scent. It's scientifically proven. Will it hide you from a coyote? Hell no. But it will cut down on the scent. It will cut down on the scent enough that the coyote could think you're far enough away or think you're already gone. Okay? He's got footage of coyotes walking right into a parking lot as soon as the last truck pulled out after cleaning doves in dove pits in Arizona. The coyotes know you're there. Okay? They know you're there. If they don't come to the call or they're working your scent, sometimes, depending on pressure levels, when they hit your scent, they're freaking gone. But they can do 3 things. They can leave, they can sit down, or they can keep coming. Some of them keep coming. But for you trappers out there, for 1 second, if you think a coyote don't smell human on a trap 3 days after you set it, you're wrong. But rule of thumb, you're going to start killing coyotes or catching coyotes by the foot in 3 days. He still smells you, I promise. But you're already gone, or you're far enough away that he's not going to hurt you. Okay? So that's my emphasis on Scent Killer. And same with bears. I see Great Plains Outfitters is commenting. That's Dirk Jenkins. He is one of the regulators. We're baiting bears right now in Wyoming. Dirk has an awesome bear operation going on. He guides black bear hunts. He does a little bit of wolf. He does a lot of elk, a lot of good mule deer hunts, a lot of good antelope, whitetails, and mountain lions. But most of all, the guy knows his bears as well. How many times, for some of you guys that have baited bears, and I know Dirk will agree with me on this, I've learned tremendous amount about bears in the last 2 years. Because first of all, they're just kind of like dogs. We make a lot of noise going in, we bait, and we make a lot of noise going out. And then we'll walk a mile, well, until now, because I'm going to ride my Rambo bike in. But we'll walk back very quietly and set up and kill a bear if they're hitting. Those bears know you're there. They see you, they smell you, they hear you, they know you're there, but they're either already gone or you're far enough away you're not going to hurt them. That's my whole deal on Scent Killer. I'm in the West Tennessee. Anyone near me, we go lay some dogs down. Tyler's on this podcast all the time. Great follower, great watcher, great friend. You guys should take him up on that if you're in Tennessee. The guy's badass. Eric Garcia, I've had an old female come up to 60 yards downwind and not ever stutter coming to the call. You know what, Eric? I've had that so many times. One thing about me, and this is a good time to throw this out there because I had a severe, not argument or fight or anything like that, but I had a pretty rough day and we did some stuff. Yeah, no kidding, Eric. Them hills will kick your ass. But one thing on Dog Soldier you've never found is you've never found me act like an expert. If I tell you something, it's based off my experiences or it's regurgitated like the Rich Higgins stuff I just told you about. And Ed Gajowski, I think that's how you say your last name, Ed. Ed's been my brother and friend for millions of years. He's a great friend with Rich Higgins too. I give people credit when I learn something severe. My life changed when I met Rich Higgins. Yes, I'm very Coyote Cody. You would not believe how exhausted I am, and it's hot here, and it's humid, and it's about to kick my ass. But you know what? I told my fiance Emily tonight and her mother-in-law, I said, you know what? I got to do this podcast. I want to do it. I know it's not going to be the best, but you guys are going to be here, so I want to be here for you. But I always give credit where credit's due. I learned a lot of stuff, and my life changed when I got to know Rich. And Rich had me come out and stay at his house a couple times. I mean, the guy's a great guy. The only thing Rich done was he turns it into a science, which some people like myself are not able to consume that part of a coyote for any time at once. I mean, there's so much information, so much to go in your head. You can't really process it all. And my life did change when I met Rich because I learned so much about coyotes. But where it really changed is I took the information and I stored it in my head and I applied. I took the rocket science out of it and I just started rolling with it and I just started going and having fun and I started going back to the basics and making stands. But there is going to be times, and Rich will tell you this in a couple of weeks when I have him on, there is times that you're going to apply these rocket science facts, I say, or sounds or whatever it may be, and it's really useful. So you got to playing the expert. I'm going to try to tell you stuff based on my experiences. I'm going to have special guests on, like, when I was talking decoy dogs, I talked with Scott Hampton. I know Scott really well. He's one of my camera guys. He's a great friend of mine, and he's a badass decoy dogger. So why wouldn't I have him tell you guys the story or the art than me? Because if I don't know it, I kill 50, 60, 70 coyotes a year on video. That's it. I have no numbers to prove I'm anything. I don't think they're gone either, Hunting Lone Wolf. I don't know if you understood me right a while ago. Hunting Lone Wolf says, I disagree with trapping coyotes as I have trapped 45 years, and after 36 hours, all human scent is gone from the trap set. I don't understand your comment, but I think you're saying it. You don't agree with me saying it's gone. I don't think it's gone. I think the human scent is there after 36 hours. A good bear dog can strike a dog, or a lion dog can strike a dog several days old in the snow anyway. When you're touching traps, even if you go through the steps, and I'm not a trapper, so don't get me wrong. I've trapped every species I could in Missouri, and then I threw up my traps, and that was it. But I think what he's saying is he don't agree with the scent being gone. I agree with that. I agree that the human scent is still there, but it's at a level that they can tolerate. Scent is already gone in 36 hours. Okay, so he commented right here, the human scent is gone in 36 hours. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and you guys pay attention to me here. So Hunting Lone Wolf, for you guys at home that aren't watching and you're listening, a guy by the name of Hunting Lone Wolf, he disagreed with me on what I said about traps, and I do think the scent is still there, okay? A coyote is a long-snouted canine. There's a lot of handling and touching going on, a lot of dirt, a lot of moisture. Not quite for sure who's right here, but what I'm going to do as a coyote hunter or a trapper, because I'm not a trapper, I want to go research this. Why is my human scent gone in 36 hours, and why is it still there in a day? So as a good hunter or a good woodsman, I'm going to try to figure this out. Obviously, I'm probably wrong. The guy's trapped 45 years, but if you do remember that I did say in 3 days usually is the rule of thumb, you're going to start catching coyotes in your set. That's what I was taught, and it's usually because the scent is gone, even though I think that it's still there. I might be wrong, I might not, but I'm probably going to take hunting lone wolves. He's been trapping for 45 years. I've trapped a few coyotes, foxes, and coons, and all this bobcats, everything I trap in Missouri, and then I'm done with trapping. So, yeah, it's either gone or it's there. I don't know, but in 36 hours. But that still validates my point. Even if it's not gone, it's at a level that you can tolerate. So. Okay, so now we're going to get on to some comments here. Hunting Lone Wolf, I appreciate you calling me out, and I appreciate you disagreeing with me, because that's how I learn. Okay, that's the good thing about this podcast. Hunting Lone Wolf commented in the live feed that, and some of you guys can't see the chat at home, he disagreed with me, saying I think scent is still there, and now I'm going to go research it farther, and I'm going to try to find the facts, and I'm going to be better because of it. So I appreciate that. So anyway, I like Pigman, but don't think I could spend very much time with him. Very vocal individual. You know what? I'm, in my defense, as a TV host, I'm probably not as vocal, and Dirk will probably call me out on this. I'm probably not as vocal outside the screen or outside the podcast as I am in human life. Maybe I'm more vocal. I don't know. But I've been around Brian Quokka a lot, which is Pigman. And some people take him, some people don't. That does bring me to the point. Some people take me very well, but as I found out today, some people really don't like me, and that's fine. As a public figure, when we put ourselves in front of millions and millions of people, you're going to have people that don't like you. And you start, when I first started the business 12 years ago, holy crap, man! Somebody sent out a bad episode, or a bad review on an episode, my life was freaking over. Like, I'm going to hell. Everybody don't like me, blah, blah, blah. Well, now it's just a fact. I'm pretty sure maybe there's people on the chat room right now that don't like me. I'm not for sure. But, like Walter said, never apologize. At the end of every episode, I say, keep your head up, move forward, stay fearless, and don't apologize to anyone. Never apologize. I don't mean that in a cocky way. I just mean that if you're truly yourself all the time, then you're going to succeed no matter what you do. So like even the guys I was arguing with today about some situations that I didn't like, it really don't matter. But I did say one thing: whether I'm right or wrong, I'm going to believe that I'm right. I'm going to believe I'm right. I'm going to stand up for what I believe in. Now, the trapping thing, like hunting lone wolf and stuff, I'm not an expert, so I'm going to learn. But if you strongly believe in something, which Brian Quokka, the pig man, strongly believes in a lot of shit, he he's not going to apologize. He's going to stand strong, and he's going to speak up. And so we all kind of got a loudmouth a little bit, and you just got to kind of roll with it. And we do get really thick skin. So, there's a lot of people out there that maybe don't take our personalities well. And, one thing about it, one thing about the whole deal is you got to think of it this way. If some people don't like the Pigman, or some people don't like myself, or some people don't like Michael Waddell, then, okay, so where would we all be right now? There's a bunch of you guys watching, and there's a bunch of you guys commenting. Where would we be, all of us, all 50 or so, or however many's on there chatting and watching the podcast, or how many people on iTunes right now is listening? Where would we be? Where would we be if I changed everything I did? Okay. So right now I'm no powder puff and I'm no fancy sucker at all because I mean, I look like crap and I feel like crap and I'm hot and it's humid in Vermont and I'm halfway pissed off all day because it is humid. And the only things that makes me happy is Emily and her mother-in-law. Where would I be if I changed all this around? Where would I be if I changed who I was? Where would we all be? First of all, you guys would be watching a fake son of a gun. I mean, really. And if you notice tonight, I have cussed a little bit, but I've not cussed so much because I have found out that little kids watch this podcast. And so that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm not cleaning up for antis, but when some of my friends, which is you people watching, say, hey, Steve, my kids would like to watch a little bit if you didn't cuss so much. So I'm trying not to cuss so much, but that's not changing who I am. But if I do change who I am, then what are we really watching? Really? You know, it'd be like Tory Cook at MFK. If he started wearing camo like everybody else and cleaned up his mouth and took crap from everybody, where would we be? We would be in the fake world that surrounds us today, you know? Yeah, that's right, Walter. Yeah, no kidding, Coyote Cody. Yeah, you know, that's right, Brandon. You know, that's my biggest, that's my biggest thing. Um, you know, when people, you won't believe, that's cool, Cody. I'm glad she's watching, and I know I slip up every now and then, and you know, and Wade Hedger just commented really good comment. Going to start a good debate, I think, on the chat room between trappers. But you know, Cody just said his 8-year-old daughter watches, and I love that. You wouldn't believe how many little kids do watch, and it's pretty awesome. And I like being looked up at, and I try to make a good example. So I am trying to clean up a little bit, you know. So I'm trying to get that right. Coyotes load and number twos for coyotes. Okay, Swamp Rat, you're going to have to specify on what you're talking about there. I tell you right now, the coyote load that they got, Varmidex coyote load they have right now is bad. It's a BB size shot, and it is, I mean, pass throughs at 20 yards. It's a bad sucker. Oh no. Uh-oh. Okay, we're still going, I think. We're having a few complications of storms coming. But still badass 99% of the stuff you say. You know what? I'm kind of off the wall. You know, so the thing about it is, I do come up with some weird things to say. And let's see here. I'm reading some comments. Reason you are what you are and what you have become and will become is because you have always stayed you. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate that. I really do. I thank everybody for the support. Um, one thing you guys have seen on the podcast is I'm not out to get my horn tooted. I'm not out to get my back patted, and I don't sugarcoat nothing. This is my job, and the more times you guys watch this, and the more people watching the feed and everything else, you know, that's how I make a living. You know, but one thing I do to separate myself is I get a little closer to you guys than most outdoor television personalities. I like you guys to know what's going on in my life. I like to know what's going on in your guys' life. I love it that your kids watch. I'm actually going to try to clean up a little bit my potty mouth. I'm not going to clean up who I am. But speaking of kids, you know, what pack am I running? I'm running the Alaskan Guide Creation Bino Pack, and you can get them at tacticalpredatorhunter.com. And my backpack is an Eberly stock, Gunslinger 2. So Eric Garcia just commented, having trouble finding that Varmint X load and 12 gauge in stores. tacticalpredatorhunter.com. Winchester and myself have partnered up, and I will be carrying that stuff before next season. Okay, so yeah, heavy shot, Miles. Heavy shot is a good load. It's just pretty expensive. It's a good coyote load though. I killed a coyote at like 67 yards once with Winchester coyote, or I mean with heavy shot. Yeah, Coyote Cody. Maybe you can get with Eric and he can PayPal you some money and you can pick him up some. That would be awesome. That's what That's what I want to do. I want to create a network between you guys. There's a lot of regulars on the podcast every week, and if you guys are chatting and getting together, it wouldn't be hard for Eric to PayPal Cody, $20 or whatever a box of shells cost, and trust yourselves a little bit. If somebody screws somebody out of $20, I'll send you $20. So, Cody, if you can get Eric to PayPal you some money, go get him a box of shells and put it in the mail for him, okay? But what I was saying a while ago about saying some weird stuff all the time, and with kids, my little girl Zoe, one time we was sitting on the couch watching an episode, and I said, "Look, Zoe, I smoked him," and she said, "I said, look, Zoe, I smoked him, and she just like fried chicken," and that's where the next coyote I shot, which was the next day, I had a cameraman show up, and I just said fried chicken, and that's where that come from. I just say off the wall stuff sometimes, and I think that's how probably I separated myself mentally from everybody else in the industry. So it's pretty funny how it goes. Yeah, Wade Hedger commented, "Pay it forward." Somebody can start this deal, or I tell you what, right now, I mean. If you guys want to start a deal, Eric, PayPal Cody $20. He'll send you a box of shells, or Cody send him a box of shells, and then he'll send a box of shells to somebody, and you guys can create a chain, and it's a pretty good thing. Pay it forward is a badass way to be an American. I seen some foreign people in the Denny's the other day, and the guy couldn't get his card to work because cards don't work over here when they're from England. They're always getting shut off, and because they're fraud protection and stuff like that. So I offered to buy these people's dinner, and their card finally worked. So pay it forward will really come back around. Yeah, the MFK diaphragms are badass. Yeah, Eric, I took a pistol apart. Eric commented, for you guys at home that don't see the chat, that he thought he was a gunsmith, and he's not. I do that all the time. I got a pistol that absolutely won't shoot nothing right now because of that. Okay, Skeet Armstrong, couldn't get it to pattern very good either, using several different chokes with a heavy shot. I'll shoot number 4 buck over it any day. Okay, so, we all know that Winchester has sponsored me for over 12 years. I think I am their longest outdoor personality that they have under their roster. What that means is I think they've sponsored me longer than they have anybody else. Winchester number 4 buck has killed more coyotes, and you can get it. You used to be able to get it for like $3.50 for 5 shells, but now I don't know what it costs. But I used to freaking kill the crap out of coyotes with number 4 buck, and then they come out with these coyote loads, and they're just so much better. I'll tell you right now, a lot of people, when they're trying to pattern their chokes, a lot of people's trying to pattern chokes. A lot of times you'll throw an extra full turkey choke in there and you'll really tighten it down. Well, some of these bigger shot sizes like number 4, BB, etc., they like a full choke better. I found out that if you just throw a standard full choke in there, that you'll actually get a lot better pattern than actually tighten it up. You wouldn't believe how many modified chokes, and I'm killing coyotes at 35 yards with a modified choke, because what happens is these big shots, they get squeezed down into the choke and they start bouncing off each other. So you really got to optimize your chokes when you're using a bigger shot. Mine doesn't pattern get it all through any of the chokes. That's why I was curious with heavy shot. Miles, if you're using Varmint X and it's not patterning good, something ain't right. Throw a standard full choke in there, a modified choke, and put you a pie plate up at 30 yards and text me and tell me how many shots you're getting in. That's what I want to know. Yeah, Raymond said, Google that gun. That's kind of been my thing. Google is so powerful nowadays. You guys hear me ranting over social media and everything else all the time. Well, with Google, you can become an expert at anything overnight. You don't believe how many things I've put together, took apart, broke, put together, um, and I just Google it. Uh, Google has given us the power at our fingertips to do anything. Um, I mean, if you're having a problem, you can Google how to kill a coyote. And I mean, or just like for YouTube, for instance, you can Google YouTube and how to kill a coyote or coyote hunting. Just put in coyote hunting on YouTube. And I will say, if you put in coyote hunting on YouTube, I own the search engine. I've spent a lot of money the last year on SEO, which is search engine optimization, and it's really good. Yes, Raymond. I am scheduled back in Wyoming next week. I will be bear hunting, so I can't promise anything on next week's podcast. It's going to be kind of tough. So next week's podcast, I'll be in the middle of a bear hunt. If I'm home, I will do a podcast. If I'm not, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull off this Mac thing at all. I really don't know yet, so I'll try. But podcast next week might be canceled. So, yeah, right on, homie. I appreciate it, Raymond. You're always here, and I appreciate the support and the watching. I'm actually in Sheridan, Wyoming, Lone Wolf. I love Texas, Kyle. I love Texas. Okay, we started this podcast tonight, and I'd been promoting it all week. We're going to go live from Vermont. We're going to talk about traveling in the industry and airports. I had such a bad week. I mean, I love spending time with Emily, and I love spending time with my new family here in Vermont. And I'm telling you right now, straight up, there are some rude ass people in this world. And if you want to teach your kids how not to act when they're adults, take them to an airport. It is, I can't even freaking believe it, how people, I can't even freaking believe how people act. It just blows my mind. You know, it's amazing. One thing in this industry, we talked about it earlier. When you put your show out in front of 2.5 million people, watch it in about 26 weeks. And then on top of all the Facebook stuff, all the YouTube stuff, and all that crap, it's hard on a guy. And you always have a target on your back. Well, you have to travel. You wouldn't believe in this industry how much bull crap you got to go for what we actually make. We do really good, and the show's doing really good. But what we do is we try to minimize the targets. And one thing I found out how to do that is just be real. Quit acting like you know it all and be yourself. That's one way to minimize the targets, and that's what we seem to do. But you can take your kids. You can take your kids to an airport and learn exactly how not to act as an adult. And no, I do not have a TSA Pre Pass. Like, more often than not, I get pulled over. And the other day, I'm not bullcrapping you at all. This is the honest truth. I go through this ringer. Where were we going? I can't remember where. Me and Emily were going somewhere. I think it was with. Well, anyway, my dinger went off, and it was right in my junk. May have been SHOT Show, but it was right in my zipper. And the screen's like beep beep beep, and I look up, and the circle is like right over the part that it's not supposed to be. And I walk over there. I'm like, listen, there's nothing in there. And he pulls his glove, just like you see on the movie. Pops. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I got to check you. So spread your legs. And I'm in front of everybody. So if you travel a lot and you say that you've never, felt up by a man, you're lying. Yeah, Dirk, we're going to shoot some prairie dogs. So I got Jeremy flying in to film the bear hunt, and we got to film some air gunner stuff, and it's going to be a big week. week. Hey, one good news about the podcast, and I'm sorry we're all over the place. I'm not organized. It is just what it is. But one thing about the podcast we want to talk about this week is the wolf hunting in Wyoming is open. They delisted them suckers, and now they have implemented a season. They are free to rights. We can kill them in the predator zones. So get your maps of Wyoming, find out where the predator zones are, and go hunting. Extend your season. And right now, it is cold as hell up on the mountain. So, I mean, it's hot everywhere else in the world. Well, you can go to Wyoming and enjoy a good hunt. I think I'm going to kill one with a blowgun. I just seen a comment in the live feed. I was digging that blowgun hunting. Yeah, you know what? You wouldn't believe how many rock chucks I've shot with that blowgun. They run off with your darts even worse because they're like this freaking big. And I've had a lot of fun with that blowgun. It's going to be cool and be looking forward to seeing that on American Air Gunner, just as some content, and maybe Dog Soldier, who knows. But yeah, Wyoming's open to their wolf hunting, and it's going to be epic. I love it. Yeah, you guys come out. We can point you in the right direction. Dirk, he's going to do some wolf hunts and stuff like that. So get a hold of Great Plains Outfitters, gpohunts.com. That's Dirk Jenkins, one of my regulators and one of my brothers and great friend. And, man, I love that sucker to death. And get a hold of him and see what he can do for you on the wolf hunts. And it's going to be awesome. And if you like wolf hunting and you want to go to Canada, got Byron Wolf with Wolf Hunting Adventures. Or Wolf Hunting Adventures, excuse me, and that's where wolf hunting Colorado or Canada is a great wolf hunt. Walter, we got like somebody said we were supposed to get 10 to 20 inches up on the mountain. So the bad thing about that is I have a bear bait that a 7-footer was hitting last winter. I'm going to be able to him again bait right now, and that is. I don't know. I got a small bear hitting it, so by the time I get home, hopefully that small bear's made his rounds and some big bears have followed him back. That's what I'm counting on. So it is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of snow right now in Wyoming. I'm not sure, but it is warmer down lower, so the snow ain't sticking down low. So. See, it's 103 there in Phoenix, Wendell Allen said. I tell you one thing about Phoenix and the surrounding areas in Arizona. Man, I've hunted a lot of cool coyote hunting contests in Arizona, and I've actually hunted one with Tyler Higgins, Rich's boy. It was 104 degrees in the shade. It was miserable. It was hot. I see a lot of you guys chatting on the Facebook or on the live chat, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in to the podcast. Remember, and this is not a shameless plug, I don't make very much over 20%. So I do everything I can for you guys. Podcast 007 will be the coupon code, and I'll try to get it up tonight or tomorrow. But podcast 007, go to tacticalpredatorhunter.com. Your calls, whatever you want to order, put in podcast 007 on the coupon code in your shopping cart, and it will 9% off. And that's just for you guys. So do that. And it'll only work 3 times. Okay. So if you guys comment real quick and say, I want to use it, and there's more than 3 of you, make it 5 or 6 times, or hell, 35 times if all you guys want to do it. But, we're having a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. The show, I want to give you guys a show update before I get off here. The show update is, really, there's not any updates. We have announced to the world that Rambo Bikes is on board with Dog Soldier. And if you guys don't know anything about Rambo Bikes, go to rambobikes.com. Check them the hell out. I'm telling you right now, and I was going to talk about this from the first on this podcast, but it's really hard. I know the feed sucks. This one probably will not make it to live feed to iTunes, because we have been all over the place. I've done a lot of comment answering, and it's just not structured, and it might be hard to listen to if you're not watching. But Rambo Bikes, concept of this, and I'll tell you why. Me and Emily and myself are not really health fanatics, and we're not really in shape. But I'll tell you right now, Tyler, shit is good, he says. Is that the podcast, how unstructured it is and all over the place, or what are we thinking? Fill me in, brother. Spit it out. But anyway, so motor noise, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot right now. I want to give you guys the show update and talk about the show a little bit, but motor noise is a killer when it comes to coyotes. One thing you can do is you can walk out a 10,000 acre ranch and be very successful. You can drive through you can drive through a ranch and your ratios go drastically down. Or you can call a ranch one day and it's just badass. It's the best hunting in the world, and the next day it's not. And then you got to start worrying about, okay, so what was my tactics yesterday than today? More often than not, there's not a big change, but what has changed is your approach or how you're approaching the hunting stand. You can have all the coyotes you can in the world, but if you can't get to them without being seen, heard, or smelled, you're screwed. So one thing in Wyoming I really learned how to be successful in Wyoming is I'll drive miles and miles. There's me, and he's subtle, and I think I can kill him. I'll move in on him, and I'll move in on him, cut the distance in half, and then I'm usually successful. I'm 5% because it's miserable. There's a lot of public land hunters. There's a lot of elk and deer and everything else. So there's a lot of hunters, and they get pressured fast. But what I'm saying is the motor noise. Okay, so one thing about it, if you cut down on your motor noise and start walking to these coyotes, you start being more successful. Well, me and Emily, live feed went off. So me and Emily, what we did is we started riding mountain bikes, and we're riding 6, 7, 8 miles a day, and it's not really killing us, and we're really not in good shape. So then I started thinking to myself, well, when I hear a coyote howl at 2 miles, I could ride that mile to cut the distance in half to him faster, so much less stress, and it would be quiet if I rode a mountain bike. I could be more successful and cover more ground. So that's where Rant coached them, and now I'm a dealer of Rambo bikes, and they're a partner of Dog Soldier. So we're going to start talking about some tactics that take you outside the box in weeks to come, because that's where I like to be, outside the box. That's where I want to be. The other updates on the show, we had Jim from Cirrus Windicator on last week. Awesome guy. Of course, we got Winchester and Umarex USA, MFK, Bog, Flextone, Barnett, Halo, Wildlife Research Center, Pyramid Air. We got so many good partners right now. We got everything so freaking fine-tuned right now that it's amazing. Like, it's easy to talk about product without throwing it in somebody's face. You can tell when people are on TV and they're BSing you, like, buy this because it's the best this. I don't use nothing that's the best, but I use stuff that works for me. And right now I have the show so fine-tuned that the products I'm using on the show is so easy to use. They're so effective, and the quality is so good that I'm not worrying about breakdowns, or I don't have to BS nobody. I just go with the flow, and that's what we like, and that's Soldier right now. Kind of like this podcast. I'm hot, I'm miserable, I'm not feeling good, but I wanted to do it tonight because you guys as my friends are fine-tuned. You guys are watching the show, you're watching the podcast, you're here every week, and it's easy to talk to guys that enjoy what I enjoy. It's so easy. Eric just commented on there, he has coyotes come to the call, and they see the truck. That is awesome. In Texas, I don't know where Eric's at. I think he said Texas. But, the thing about it is that are stupid, and they're different. The coyote's not different, but the way we approach them is different. And thanks for being on WSEPN 12. Appreciate it. Wendell, it's amazing that I interact with the fans. You said on your comment, hey, without you guys, I am nothing. Let's just get that out right now. I'm nothing without you guys. And, it's just amazing that you guys are here every week. And I started this thing, so I want to finish it. If you guys quit watching, then I'll quit doing it. But right now, we started it. We're having a lot of fun, and we're rolling with it. But swamp rat text, high pressure, low pressure. One thing about it is there's a lot of parts in the country that you can pull away awesome stuff and get away with murder. There's a lot more places in the country that you can't. Arizona is shot up right now. There's places you can go call in a coyote with a pop can rattle. But there's places in Arizona that if you don't slip in and you ain't quiet and you don't do something out of the box, you're not going to kill them. Tyler says he calls them from the truck. I'm going to start hunting with Tyler, I think. I'm tired of walking. Yeah, miles, 20 minutes to stand. That's about right. I'm a little more ADD than you, so I'm a 15-minute kind of guy. Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Tyler Mitchell here every week. Appreciate you being here, brother. Cody. Dude, I'm telling you right now, you're here every week. Comment on the videos. I appreciate it. Hunting lone wolf. Yeah, the Armageddon bullets, I hear good things about them. I'm wondering about the penetration on them or the energy distribution on them. I've never used them except for on prairie dogs. Yeah, West Texas. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Walter. I appreciate it. Yeah, come on. Preach the Arizona stuff, brother. I love Arizona. I've spent so much time hunting in Arizona, especially years ago. And season one, I killed 5 or 6 coyotes in a day, a half a day. And then my grandma died, and I just kind of lost it and went back to the hotel room. And when they called and told me she died, I went back to the hotel room, and I holed up until my plane morning. And that's life, but that's the last time I hunted Arizona. I got some hunting holes in Arizona that produce, and not a lot of people hunt it. I've got 2-mile stretch in Arizona. I promise you nobody hunts it. That'll yield 10 coyotes if I wasn't videoing. Sweet. Well, guys, hey, I appreciate everything you guys do. Appreciate you watching the podcast. Sorry it's kind of all over the place. I'm a little unorganized. I'm away from home. We got some storms, stuff like that. So, I really appreciate you guys getting on here, interacting with me. I really appreciate it a lot more with you guys interacting with each other. There's always good conversation between you guys. And you know what? One thing about it is I may not always comment or I may not always call you out, but I do want to interact with you guys. But I'm reading everything. I see I'm getting really good at multitasking. I can read about one subject and talk about another. And, if I do get sidetracked, it's been watching you guys on the chat. But without you guys, I'm nothing. I appreciate you watching the podcast. I'll go ahead and leave it up for Tyler's Buddies on YouTube. And if you guys got iTunes, if you guys got SoundCloud, I will, when I get a chance, edit this down, put the link up, and you guys can watch it at work on podcasts and all that cool stuff and yada, yada, yada. I appreciate you guys doing this with me. The podcast is a success, and I'm always looking forward to seeing you guys next week. So once again, this podcast is brought to you by TacticalPredatorHunter.com. Go buy something so I can pay my house payment. How more honest do you want it than that, right? Peace out, homies. I'll catch you guys next Thursday live, hopefully. If not, I will post on the Facebook channel that we will not have a podcast, and I'll probably do a little phone video and put on YouTube for you guys that don't do Facebook. There is a possibility I won't have a podcast next week. Peace out, homies. Be good.